All right, welcome to the patch notes review. This is a long-awaited patch notes review, or a long-awaited patch because so many people have been abused by Tengu on the ladder, and especially in competitive play, it seems like China with the Kuafu economy has been much too dominant. So these two changes alone is going to make the game a lot more enjoyable for many more people, and we'll see what else is in store. So it says in general, siege weapons have had their crush damage slightly reduced. Okay, we'll get to it, I guess. For deathmatch, there's something. Lightning, there's something. Okay, this is where we get to it. Zeus Olympian parentage adjusted as follows. No longer trains heroes faster, but heroes now regenerate 1 HP per second. Really cool. It means that as Zeus, you can keep your heroes alive, especially in the early stages of the game, and they're slowly going to get back to full. It should be very powerful. I did like the old Olympian parentage, to be honest. I know that a lot of people said it was a bit bad, but quickly training heroes with Zeus, I thought it was a cool bonus, and the extra HP didn't hurt us either. This one, I'm not sure. I don't think it's a great buff to Zeus by any means. It's a change, but I don't think it's a great buff. And then we've got Ares, Enyo's Bow of Horror, projectile speed increase from plus 15 to plus 20, so even more ballistics to it. It's still not a full ballistics, but it's about as much as it gets, I guess. Hermes, Sylvan Lore, cost reduced from 300 wood, 20 favor to 250 wood, 18 favor. So Ares and Hermes, these are minor gods in the classical pantheon, in the Greek pantheon. That's not seen too much play, so small minor buffs to them maybe will make them see a bit more play. Apollo Anastrophe, that's the Pentagon, the special attack damage increase from 40 to 50 hack. I've noticed this wasn't a very powerful technology, and even with the buff here, it doesn't seem very good. It's the one that you get with Apollo for water for the hammer boats, but it's not great. Maybe now it'll be slightly better, but still not a must pick, I think. Colossus now has a 2 times bonus multiplier versus myth units. That's nice. I don't know why I didn't have that before. Or maybe had it 3 times. I don't know. Maybe because it was so much crush damage that they didn't need it, but now they have it. So Colossus rarely sees play. A nice little buff to them, I guess. Siege units Petropolis reduced damage reduced from 55 to 45, and heal levels from 50 to 40. Wow. So that's a significant siege nerf. Very significant, actually. Hopefully, this is across the board, not just for Greeks. And for Ra, bonus monument area empowerment now affects monuments. So that's bringing back the effect of Ra, who was noticeably underperforming compared to other Egyptian major gods in recent patches. Okay, Mommy Osiris special attack divine damage increased from 3 to 4 per second for 15 seconds. Yeah, we don't see many mummies played either, so maybe not the worst. And similarly, the siege tower goes down by some 20%. Yeah, 20% approximately. I guess that's across the board, 20%. Loki. Let's see, how do we buff Loki? Non-Hursa soldier contribution to spawning Mythians increased from 10 to 15%. We're going to see a slightly bit more myth units coming in from Loki, and that's it. Yeah, it's not much. This is definitely not much for Loki. I still think he's going to be absolute trash. He's really, really bad. He's by far, in my opinion, the worst god in the game, and this is not going to change that. Persetti Dwarven Breastplate, cost reduced from 150 gold, 10 favor to 100 gold, 10 favor. Okay. Gjallarhorn technology makes Einherry HP actually significantly higher. And Rick's Tula costs 2 less favor. So small little buff to Rick's Tula, I like that. And then the Einherry HP upgrade. I kind of stopped playing around with Einherry because it bugged your unit so much. I think there's been a lot of fixes, attempts at fixing the Iron Harry. I don't think it's quite perfect, but with this buff to the Gjallarhorn, it's definitely worth it trying to build these units again. Aegir, Grasp of Ran, damage required for Kraken spawn increased from 400 to 500. a bit of a meme tech, but for some maps, actually, it's really sick. And if you could start really spamming, once you start getting Krakens from your siege boats, it's really sick. So maybe it's a warranted nerf, I'm not sure. Mountain Giant now has a 2 times bonus multiplier versus myth units. Once again, I'm not sure. I mean, maybe they didn't have it before because they have so much cross damage. That must be it. So now it's a small buff versus other myth units. Fire Giants, more HP. They could definitely use that. They're very fragile myth units. Fafnir, kill reward from 300 to 250 gold. That's nice. And costs a lot less as well. Small little buffs and nerfs here and there. I think it's a step in the right direction everywhere. Fenris Wolf, extra HP. These units are already quite good, I think. Very underrated unit. Super speedy and deals a lot of damage, but yeah, I guess the reason you don't see them much is because once you hit tier, you want to get those tier upgrades in. But yeah, we've seen a lot of buffs to the Fenris Wolf Brute, so maybe it's time that people really give it a serious try to get a lot of these dogs out. Berserk HP increased from 85 to 95. Berserk was a really, really bad unit before. But this buff is actually quite significant. Like 10%, 10 HP. It's like more than 10% HP buff. And then in combination with the small buff to the Dwarven Breastplate as well. Could be time to really start massing Berserks again, especially as Thor. I think it's it's really worth playing around with. Portable Ram, 20% decrease in damage, and the same with the Ballista. And same with the Fire Siphon. Oh, that's all for Atlanteans. Very small changes to Atlanteans. Nuwa, Kuafu, Chieftain from 30 to 40 seconds. So that's a significant nerf to Nuwa. It was a bit of a weird extra little thing that Nuwa had, because a regular Kuafu costs 36 seconds to train. So for the Kuafu Chieftain to remain at 30 seconds was a bit strange. Now it's 40 seconds, so it's actually more than a regular Kuafu. It's still worth getting, but like I said, it's a nerf. It's a significant nerf for Nuwa. 10 extra seconds of TC time to get that boy out. It's more than half a villager, so significant nerf to Nuwa here. Kuafu train time increased from 36 to 45 seconds, so there we go. That's the Kuafu change we were after. After the recent favor reduction, the Chinese early game economy ended up a lot more powerful than expected initially. Now that favor isn't as limiting a factor, these changes should allow Kuafu to remain a strong economic benefit, but not jump ahead too far of other civilizations. So 36 to 45, it's 9 additional seconds to get these Kuafu out. That's it's gonna make it interesting now. I think Kuafu probably still worth just spamming out, but you really gotta consider: do you want myth units rather, or do you want technologies instead? I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. It's gonna make things a lot more interesting for China, where you don't just spam Kuafu out mindlessly. And we see the same siege changes as the other civs has got. Tsukuyomi, we saw New Moon recasted a bunch, and it looked really potent. Now, from 100 to 125 favor, it's gonna be a lot more difficult to use it several times in a game. Obviously, you can still use a Sacred Gate, so that'll be an option, but using it on the Temple in the Heroic Age, and then also in the Armory in the Heroic Age, we're not gonna see that much anymore. It's still an option, 125 favor. I think it's still worth doing in a lot of cases, but much warranted nerf here, IMO. Kusanagi cost increased from 20 to 25. The nerf to Susanoo. Thank you, GDs of Death, for the raid. Nerf to Susanoo. Dude, this god is not a good god, Susanoo. He's one of the worst gods in the game, I think. So I really hope we're going to see some buff to him instead. Maybe you could argue he cast god powers a bit too much. So maybe, yeah, but hopefully we'll see some buff in exchange for this nerf here. Inari Okami, myth unit gold earned per damage dealt reduced from 0.5 to 0.4, and cost reduced from 200 to 150 gold and 2 less favor. So, small adjustment here for Ivory Netsuke. Still a very, very high amount of gold you can get with this tech. So, still well worth getting, and it's still gonna really boost your gold income by a lot if you got a lot of myth units out with this technology in. For Susanoo in particular, it should be slightly easier to get this. Hachiman now spawns 1 samurai every 7 hits rather than 100 damage dealt. That's cool. That's really good. This change should make myth units less of a target for immense value. The way that you countered the Shogun before was by simply not having myth units in the fight where the Shogun was. And if the Shogun was ever on top of a myth unit, you just had to delete it. So this change is amazing. I like it a lot. Raijin Junko Zosen damage change from 3 divine to 2 divine 2 crush. So that's the technology that makes siege boats into lightning boats. I don't know what it is. It's probably it is a small buff, I think. It's got to be a small buff, but not by much. Myth units Tengu. This is the myth unit that's been causing a lot of people to rage at Tsukuyomi in particular. Cost increase from 200 wood to 250 wood and 5 additional favor. Recharge time, and this is a significant nerf. This one is a significant nerf. The duration of the Tengu boost is 8 seconds. So there's going to be a 7-second downtime where you don't have that extra armor, the extra damage, where the Tengu is going to be very, very fragile. That, in addition to the extra cost, is definitely going to put Tengu in its place. It's not going to be nearly as oppressive as it was before. Probably still will find value, especially as a single raider. I think this unit is still amazing. But it's, trust me, this is a really, really sick nerf, and it's going to be felt for all Tengu abusers out there. Yorogumu, that's the spider lady. Cost reduced from 18 favor to 16 favor, and bonus damage multiplier versus heroes increased from 0.25 to a half. I hate these. I really don't like these multiplier versus heroes where it's only a half. Because they still deal so much damage to heroes, and I don't think there's a reason why myth units should take down heroes. Oh well. For Yorogomo, probably not the worst in the world, but still, it's a weird one, I think. Shinigami, which are the Revenants, whatever you want to call them, the ghostly Revenants. Special attack bonus versus heroes reduced from 0.5 to 0.25. Special attacks now have a double bonus damage multiplier versus myth units and 0.25 bonus damage multiplier versus heroes. So it was bugged before. It dealt full damage versus heroes. Thankfully, that'll be fixed now. And these units, Shinigami, we haven't seen them too much. They're in the Mythic Age, so that's why I don't see them much to begin with. But even then, they just don't seem to pack that much of a punch. Oh well. Dojo units, Bushido XP contribution from combat reduced from 1.5 to 1.25 XP per damage dealt. Bushido XP earned passively down from 0.5 to 0.25. So this makes samurais less effective at gaining Bushido, and it makes every other unit more in line with the dojo units. I like that. I think samurais were too good at just gaining XP. And whenever it's like some matchups you can spam samurais, and in others you cannot do it at all. And so the matchups became a bit skewed as a result of this. So this should definitely be a nice change. Onimusha damage reduced from 16 to 14 hack. Special attack damage reduced from 40 to 35 hack. Wow, big nerf to Onimusha. Yeah, just a straight up nerf. On Miyoji, they are the siege weapons, the long range siege weapons. Oh, it's a nerf, because every other siege unit also gets a nerf, and so does the Oyumi. I'm thinking of Susanoo here. Did we get a... I don't think we got any buff to Susanoo at all. No, we didn't. Gah. That makes me feel bad. So we got the nerf to Susanoo and other nerfs. Obviously, Hachiman doesn't matter too much for Susanoo. We got the Jorogumo buff, I guess, the Spider Lady buff. But yeah, I think Susanu's gonna really suffer now. Really gonna suffer now. Unlucky. I hope we're gonna see some love for Susanoo, because that's gonna hurt. Not being able to spam God powers as effectively as a result of that Kisa, what's it called? Sword God power nerf. Anatolia. Pick some cases where uneven teams such as 2v4 result in 2 players starting with no nearby resources. That doesn't sound nice. Some campaign changes, modding. I think that's it. Yeah, that's gotta be it. So all in all, we did see the Tengu nerfs, we did see the Kuafu nerf. That's like the number one priority for me this patch. So that's nice to see those. And we got some small buffs, small nerfs here and there. I don't think it's enough to seriously change the meta much outside of what the Tengu and the Kuafu are gonna matter. I would have loved to seen a bit more buffs for Norse as a Norse main, especially Loki, especially for my boy Loki. But whatever. That's the video.